I'm 31 years old, and this week I got diagnosed with ADHD. It feels strange to even say that out loud because for 31 years I was walking around not knowing what I was even struggling with. To me, it was just my life. It was just the way my brain worked. And now suddenly there's a name for it. It's a disorder. Since I got diagnosed, I felt two very opposite emotions at the same time. I'm upset and I'm relieved. Upset because I can't stop thinking about all the struggles I had growing up. At school, at work, in relationships, and how much of my potential I feel like I wasted. Also because I know it's not something that I will outgrow. It's something I'll have to live with for the rest of my life. I also sometimes keep thinking about questions like, what if I had known earlier? What if I had gotten help when I was younger? How would my life look different right now? But then there's also relief because I finally have an answer. I finally know the reason behind my struggles. For years, I blamed myself. I thought I was just lazy, careless, and bad at life. But now I know at least that it's just how my brain is wired. And knowing the reason behind the problem is the most important step to finding a solution. I don't feel completely lost anymore. I know where to start looking. And most importantly, I know I'm not alone in this. There are so many others out there who have ADHD, so many people who figured out strategies, studied what works and what doesn't. I can learn from them. I can try things, adapt, and try to find ways to live better with it. And that thought makes me feel less isolated. Still, I wish I had figured it out earlier. That's one of the reasons that I want to talk about my symptoms now, the things I overlooked or brushed off, so that someone else might recognize these symptoms in them and decide to seek out a diagnosis. Maybe it can save them some of the years of confusion and self-blame that I went through. So before I dive into my symptoms, I should clarify, I was diagnosed with the inattentive type of ADHD. That means my struggles show up more in the form of forgetfulness, distractibility, and lack of focus rather than the stereotypical hyperactivity. So let me go through some of the symptoms that I had, especially the ones that eventually pushed me to go and get a diagnosis. So, symptom number 1, the main thing that made me think, what is going on? What is wrong with me? And that is constantly changing jobs and professions. This was the first big red flag for me. I've changed careers 3 times already, and just as I was about to make another switch, it hit me. I cannot do this forever. Every time I learn something new, it feels amazing. I throw myself into it with all the energy in the world. But once I actually land a job in that profession, the excitement fades within months. Suddenly, I'm bored and I'm restless and I want to quit. It felt like I was in an endless loop of being a beginner, always a student, always a junior, always learning something new. Never someone who could stick around long enough to grow into mastery, to climb up in a career. And at 31, that realization really scared me. And that's when I started looking into why this might be happening. It turns out I'm not alone. A lot of people with ADHD are job hoppers. We chase novelty because that's what excites our brains. New jobs, new hobbies, new challenges, they light us up. But once the newness fades, so does the motivation. And the second symptom is actually connected to this one a little bit. The second symptom is impulsivity and risky decisions. I have made a lot of impulsive decisions, like suddenly quitting jobs, deciding to move to another country. And I never really think what will happen afterwards. So these choices are mostly very risky decisions. Sometimes they work out, and a lot of the times they don't. And that's where the problems start. The next symptom is actually a very classic symptom of ADHD, which is difficulty focusing. I can never sit through the tasks that I find boring, even if they are important. My brain starts wandering a couple of minutes into anything. I want to give you an example on this. Recently, I went to a football match for the first time in my life, to a stadium. I literally couldn't watch the game. On TV, when you watch a football match, They show the game, they show the ball, but when you actually go to the stadium, you need to watch the ball yourself. But what I was doing is looking at the goalkeeper on the other side to see what he is doing, looking at the people who are singing, looking at a fly that is flying above us, or listening to the people sitting right behind me, doing anything but watching the game. People would start cheering and I'm like, what happened? And I look and it's a goal, but I don't even know who kicked the ball. And after a while, like from the middle of the game, I forced myself to literally watch where the ball goes so that I can understand what's going on in the game, which is ridiculous. It's not like I wasn't interested in it. I like football, I like watching football, but everything else around was just really breaking my focus. That was just one example. I go through things like this every day. Also kind of related to this one is my next symptom, and that is overwhelm in crowded and loud places. A busy street, a noisy restaurant, a crowded stadium, they all overwhelm me and I kind of shut down. My brain gets overwhelmed by all the sensory input, all the moving pieces, and I can't think straight. It's like too many things and I don't know which one to focus on. And next one is trouble listening to people. Conversations are always a little bit tricky for me. Someone would be talking to me. If I'm not extremely interested in what they're talking about, I probably lose my focus. This is mostly how I listen to people, like this or like this. Or I will shake my legs, or I even will sometimes get up and start doing something while listening to them. Sometimes I can even just continue to look at them, but my brain is somewhere else. Maybe it's playing some music, thinking about some event, any random thing my brain can think about. And then suddenly I lost the conversation. I don't know what they talked about. Because I listen to people like this, I mostly do not remember what they told me. Next week, they will tell me, last week I told you about this, remember? And I'm like, no, that never happened. This also could be counted as another symptom, but yeah, also there is forgetfulness. Next one is clumsiness. So my whole life I have been clumsy. I bump into things, I drop stuff, trip over my own feet. It sounds minor, but when it's happening daily and your legs are covered in bruises, it's a little bit frustrating. My next one is anxiety about forgetting things. You probably heard that people with ADHD mostly forget their belongings. I don't often forget my belongings, but it's because I developed an anxiety around it. Whenever I leave the house, I constantly check my wallet, my phone, my keys. I'm constantly checking if they're in my bag. Or I buy something outside because I took my wallet out of my bag. Afterwards, I will continue to keep checking my cards and my wallet in my bag. It's like my brain knows that I forget things. There is a big possibility that I might lose and forget my stuff somewhere, and I just kind of obsessively check them. And my last symptom is internet addiction. Of course. The internet is a double-edged sword. I think a lot of people, no matter if they have ADHD or not, they're struggling with internet addiction now. For someone with ADHD, it's much easier to get this addiction. It gives me endless novelty, endless dopamine hits, but I can spend hours scrolling and completely losing track of time. These were the main symptoms that made me go and get a diagnosis. Other than these main symptoms, there are obviously many more. Daydreaming all the time, procrastination, making careless mistakes, hyper-focusing on certain tasks while ignoring everything else, time blindness, so underestimating how long something takes, being late or losing track of time, not being able to plan and do things long term. Like if I need something done by 2 months, I will never start doing it today. I will leave it to the last minute, no matter how big that task is. Another one is walking into a room and forgetting why you even walked there. So the list is long. At this point, it feels like my whole personality is ADHD. I am ADHD. So what now? I got my diagnosis by speaking with a psychiatrist. It was validating to hear it confirmed. Now comes the bigger question. What do I do with this information? And here's the tricky part. I don't have access to ADHD medication in the country that I currently live. If I did, I would absolutely try it because I know for many people medication has been life-changing for them. But since it's not an option for me right now, I have to figure out how to manage it through lifestyle changes, strategies, and experiments. And that's actually why I decided to start this channel. I want to document my journey, what I try, what works, what doesn't. I want to research, test out different ADHD coping strategies, and share the results here. Maybe it will help someone who is in the same situation. And it's also a way to keep myself accountable. If I just try to do this by myself, I might just slip back to my old habits. But if I know I'm coming here every week to share an update, it gives me a reason to keep going. Right now, I'm not at a great place with managing my symptoms. I am overwhelmed. I am inconsistent. I am still figuring things out. But I want to document this moment because it's the starting point. 1 year from now, I want to look back and see how far I've come. So if you've watched this far, thank you very much. And if you want to follow along as I try to figure this out, you are more than welcome to join me. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.